Welcome to a special edition of Kilt Cork Watch This. Today we're going to be visiting the Center for Violence-Free Relationships located in Placerville. This nonprofit does important work in El Dorado County in the education, prevention, and intervention of domestic violence against women and children. My best friend Kevin Brown has been supporting this organization for years, decades probably. He's been doing the walk a mile for probably just as long. It was him who challenged the rest of us kilt-wearing brothers to do the walk a mile with him, put on red heels, and actually walk a mile down Placerville. So let's find out a little bit more about why anybody would do that and what the Center for Violence-Free Relationships is all about. See Matt, knock knock.
Hey, come on in.
Hey Matt, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
So we're here today to talk a little bit about the walk a mile in our shoes.
Hey, fantastic.
Got a minute?
I've got a minute.
All right, So Matt, tell me about these red high heels.
Yes, well, you have quite a history with these red high heels. Let me just show you.
Okay, yeah.
So these are
That's on the record. Too.
On the record.
Yeah.
So these are representative of the annual event that we do called Walk a Mile in Our Shoes.
Okay.
And originally this started as an awareness event to help men understand sexual harassment and sexual assault that happens to women and men as well. But primarily the focus of this one is that it happens to, women across this community and across the country and certainly across the world. And so is a international event, and it gives men an opportunity to really send a message out to the community that they understand that sexual assault's a real thing, and I think perhaps more importantly that they also understand that it is primarily the responsibility of men to end violence against women. And it's a fun way for men to put on some high heels, send that message, be visible in the community,
right,
and really send a solid message to survivors, particularly of sexual assault, that hey, this community stands with them, stands for them, and it helps us raise a tremendous amount of money for the organization to support sexual assault services.
Very cool. So how long has the Center for Violence-Free Relationships been here in Placerville?
So 40 years,
okay,
if you can believe it. We're one of the longest standing nonprofit organizations in the community, and over time we've evolved. We started as an organization that was focused on helping displaced homemakers, if you can believe that. And what we found out pretty quickly 40 years ago was that the reason why we had homemakers that were displaced was primarily due to domestic violence.
Wow.
So out of that we became the El Dorado Women's Center, and then as we've evolved as an organization, we've shifted to now we are known as the Center for Violence-Free Relationships.
Wow, that's great. Can you tell me a little bit about how many people have been impacted with your programs here over the years?
Oh my gosh, over the years it's tough. On average we see anywhere between 700 to 1,000 new clients on the domestic violence sexual assault side. Then we also work with folks that do harm, so around 200 to 300 folks that do harm come in and participate in our program. And then the other thing that we do that's a little bit more unique than most organizations is that we have a program also for kids that have been exposed to family violence, because we know that they have high levels of PTSD. We understand that there's some work that has to be done with those kids as well, because we don't want them to be that next generation of either victims or perpetrators of this type of abuse. So we have a more holistic approach to what we do. It's kind of a two-generational approach, those that are caught up in it now and the generation that comes next.
Sure.
That's the approach that we take, and we think we're onto something exciting about working with the whole family as opposed to just victims or to just perpetrators.
Right. And that part of it too, if I'm not mistaken, is also unique to this organization here in that, as you said, the people that do harm, they can also come here and go through a program of some sorts. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, so that program is really centered primarily on folks that come to us two ways. Mandated folks that the court says, hey, you got an issue, law enforcement got involved, you're now into the court system or the justice system, so we're going to mandate you to go to this program. So we have the mandated folks and we have the folks that come here voluntarily because they know that something is not right in how their relationship is unfolding and they want to figure that thing out. So instead of it being a program that's centered on primarily on punitive measures taken, hey, you did something wrong and you've got to change this behavior, stuff like that, we recognize that behavior change is a component, and that also has to be coupled with an understanding of how did I get here? Because most of us aren't born thinking, hey, the day when I grow up and I'm in a relationship, I'm going to be abusive to the person that I claim to love. There are so many factors. There's societal factors, there's environmental factors, there's childhood of origin of stuff, what we're exposed to as kids. All of those things play into how we show up as adults. And our approach is that, hey, people don't like having unhealthy relationships. They want to do something about it. Most of us don't know what to do about it, and most of us don't know where to go to get tools. So we hold folks accountable, we give them some tools, and then we help them start making connections back to their own childhood to understand how they got into this place and to undo some of that wiring that happens in folks' brains.
That's great. You're just helping the whole family, trying to keep that unit together. Yeah. So back to the red shoes, yes, and I
know you want to put them on.
I do.
Like right
I do want to put
now.
them on.
You're like dying.
I do.
Yeah.
Wearing the red high heels is really kind of special, and I mean that in that you really do. It's not easy. So if you've walked a mile, women that wear these daily, I have a lot of respect for, but it's very difficult. But if somebody wanted to come down and walk this weekend, what would they do? How would they find out about this?
So they can go to the center's website, the center now. They can also show up at Town Hall on Main Street in Placerville, 10 o'clock, and they can get registered then. We've got shoes for everybody. If they try them on, and you'll put them on, you'll take 3 steps, and you go, oh, this isn't so bad. And then you'll start walking a mile, and you'll be 5 minutes in, and you'll be sweating and wishing that you made a different choice in your life. But yeah, it is tough, and it is a great event, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a tremendous amount of support.
Yeah, it's a great, and it's, when you're a part of that event, you're walking down Main Street with all these other men who are, standing up and saying there's got to be an end to this type of domestic abuse against women and children. It's really a cool feeling. And yeah, you've got high heels on. And I've heard men that, I wouldn't put high heels on. It's like, well, you know what? Get out there and put high heels on, because you should see what it's like to wear these and literally walk a mile in her shoes. Literally. So as far as donating to this event or even the center, what's the best way for someone to donate?
Well, because you're with the Rogue Brotherhood, you guys have a team.
Rogue Brotherhood.
I would recommend, absolutely, I would recommend that they go onto the website and look for the Walk a Mile event, and then there'll be a list of teams, and they can go down to Rogue Brotherhood, click on Rogue Brotherhood, and just make the donation, and that'll get all the credit to the efforts that you guys are doing.
You guys heard that. It's really easy. It's just point and click, and you're on there. And again, it's raising funds for this amazing organization that Matt has here in Placerville. Matt, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me, and I look forward to walking with you.
Yeah, you look forward to it, really?
I do, I really do. I look forward to walking right there. Yeah, you just watch. So we will bring that to you guys, parts of it live this weekend, just to kind of show you what we're doing and really support this group. But again, thank you, Matt.
Oh, my pleasure, and thank you guys for all you do for us. It's terrific.
Cool.
Well, I'll see you this weekend out there walking in red high heels. Please consider making a donation to the Center for Violence-Free Relationships. You guys have a great weekend. Cheers.